Welcome back. Before we dive in today, I want to share an uplifting story. Last week, I gave a talk at St. Anne's Belfield School here in Charlottesville for a group of K through 12 parents, all about sleep and how it impacts kids and teens. After the presentation, a 12th grader named Lizzie shared about her capstone research project, where she explores the question, what is the connection between childhood anxiety and disordered sleep, and how might we alleviate the challenges posed by this correlation in children aged 13 to 18? Her takeaways were so thoughtful, and I loved hearing how passionate she has become about the topic. It's even making her rethink what she wants to study in college. And when it was just the administrators, Lizzie and me chatting before, I asked if doing this research had changed how she looks at her own sleep. And she said it really has. And one of her big ideas is that sleep education should be part of the school curriculum, similar to how sex ed is taught during 1 or 2 class periods every year in middle school. I loved this idea, and it was so encouraging to hear that learning about sleep had helped her rethink her habits, and she thought it could help other students as well. And we even talked about how this awareness might benefit her in college. All that to say, our kids want to understand this stuff. And that brings us to today's episode, which was actually inspired in part by the talk I gave that night. Today, we're talking about how sleep actually changes during early puberty. So whether you've got a tween who suddenly can't fall asleep at night or a young teen who's impossible to wake in the morning, this one's for you. Hi, I'm Allison Egidi, a pediatric sleep and wellness coach and a mom of 2. I love to help parents find solutions. This is How Long Till Bedtime. This topic hits close to home because I have a 10 and 12-year-old, and we are living through these changes as I speak. As kids enter puberty, a lot starts shifting, including how their bodies regulate sleep. One of the biggest biological changes is a shift in their circadian rhythm, or their internal clock. Their brains start releasing melatonin, the sleep hormone, later in the evening than it used to. So while your 8-year-old might have felt sleepy around 7:30, your 11 or 12-year-old might not actually feel sleepy until 9 or even later. But here's the catch. They still need a lot of sleep if they're going to be their best little selves. Most tweens and teens need 9 to 11 hours of sleep to truly thrive. And when you layer in early school start times and the social and academic pressures that come with growing up at this age, it's no wonder our kids are starting to run on empty. So I want to help you navigate this change in sleep pattern and help you help your tweens get the best sleep. Let's talk about the signs that your tween's sleep is shifting and what this looks like in real life. If you've got a 10 to 12-year-old with generally good sleep habits, but they're suddenly starting to, 1, complain that it's taking them a long time to fall asleep at night, or 2, they're suddenly sleeping past their usual early wake time, that is your big clue that their circadian rhythm is starting to shift. Another thing to note, your child might also start to need slightly less sleep than they did in early childhood. For example, a child who used to thrive on 11 hours of sleep each night might feel great on 10 hours now. But if they're not tired until 9 p.m. and they still have to wake up at 6:30 in the morning for school, they're not getting enough sleep to thrive. And over time, that sleep debt can show up as irritability, trouble focusing, underperforming academically, or just overall exhaustion. So what can you do? This stage is a great time to shift back into curiosity mode. You're likely going to have to experiment a little to figure out your child's new sleep needs, and that's okay. You're not going to always get it right, and you'll continue to tweak the timing and the approach to their sleep. If it's clear that your child's natural bedtime is creeping later, but they're not getting enough sleep, here are some strategies to help them to be able to fall asleep earlier at night than maybe their ideal bedtime. 1, no phones or screens in the bedroom. This is a big one, and my girls will tell you I live by this rule, even though particularly my middle schooler does not like it. It really helps sleep to keep the phones and screens out of the bedroom. Try to have screens off at least 30 minutes before bedtime. I realize this is challenging with the middle schoolers in particular, who now seem to all need computers in order to do their schoolwork, and they have homework and they have practices, so they're doing homework later in the evening. But to the very best of your ability, try to have a 30-minute window between the end of homework and screens and lights out. Now, in addition to that, particularly if we're trying to have our child fall asleep at a time that is earlier than their body may be telling them is ideal, we need to do something to help prep their body for sleep. So 2 things that I love are either stretching or meditation. This helps their body calm down and wind down. So stretching is great for those athletes out there, and I am sitting on the sidelines of those soccer games, and as of late, I am hearing a lot about heel pain for even the kids as young as Ainsley's age group, so the 10-year-old group, because they're growing and their calves are getting tight and it's pulling up on their heels. Stretching is really good for this age group, particularly for your athletes. So I love to have Addison do a 10-minute full body stretch on Peloton. It's guided. Ben is my favorite. It's easy for her to follow, and she really enjoys it. So it helps her relax, and it helps with her kind of regulated breathing, but it does involve a screen. So what I do with that is I will have her do it either in our family room or in my bedroom. Sometimes I do it with her. So I still don't have the screen go in her room, and it is kind of breaking my no screens 30 minutes before bedtime. But I think the benefit outweighs the risk of that. So I really like good 10-minute stretch. Peloton is our go-to. Another option, or it could be both of these, is a meditation. So my girls don't love to meditate. I love to meditate, but sometimes I can rope them into it, and I certainly work with children who are very open to meditation. Again, I love a good 5 or 10-minute Peloton guided meditation. Another great app for meditation is the Calm app. And so when I meditate with the girls, which I have to do it with them in order to get them to do it, I will hold the phone face down, usually kind of on my stomach while we're laying together and meditating. I will sometimes do it in bed with Addison. So she's in her bed. I will lay with her, we'll listen to it, and then I will leave with the phone. Or you can certainly do it out in the family room and then transition them into bed. Another great trick, if they're not feeling that strong pull to sleep and their mind is racing, they're thinking about what happened at school or what's going to happen tomorrow, is to have them count backwards from 100. This bores the brain and it distracts them from the brain racing and thinking about all the things. So it's a great trick to use at bedtime. I always challenge my girls to see if they can actually get down to 0. I personally have never made it down to 0. Addison swears she has. I don't think she's made it down to 0 twice though. So it's a great trick to help them fall asleep at bedtime, and also really good for middle of the night wakings for this middle school tween into high school age group. And then talk openly about what is happening. When kids understand that their body is changing and that there are tools they can use, they're more likely to be open to them. So explain what's happening, the changes that are happening with their sleep, the shift in their circadian rhythm, but also their need for sleep and how it's challenging with school start times and practices and all of that. And then explain your strategy and share some of these ideas. And remember, just like with all childhood milestones, every child's timeline is going to be different. My girls are a perfect example. They are only 18 months apart, and I talk about this all the time. They are so different in so many ways, including when it comes to sleep and their sleep needs. Addison went through her circadian rhythm shift pretty early, and Ainsley, who's almost 11, still thrives on a 7:30 p.m. bedtime and often sleeps past 6:30. So she will sleep 7:30 to 6:45 or 7 a.m. Obviously, with her sports and her homework, we don't always hit that 7:30 bedtime, but we always shoot for that or as close to it as we can get to help her get 11 hours of sleep as often as possible, because it really, truly helps her be her best little self. And it is noticeable now that she's in early puberty, when she starts to build up sleep debt, it becomes noticeable with her general mood. So to sum it all up, puberty brings a lot of changes. Let me tell you, buckle up, parents. And that includes a shift in sleep patterns and sleep needs. It can be frustrating to watch bedtime creep later and mornings start to feel like more of a battle. But when you understand the why behind those changes, you can respond with empathy and intention to help your children remain well rested. Thanks so much for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. If this episode helped you, send it to a friend who's navigating life with a tween or young teen. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'll see you back here next week. Until then, sleep well and bye for now. Thank you for listening to How Long Till Bedtime. To learn how we can work together to improve your child's sleep, please visit sleepandwellnesscoach.com.